What's the silliest way you managed to get laid? I let myself into my girlfriend's place and had a few hours to kill, so I cleaned up her room and did some of her laundry so she'd have clean clothes for our date that night. Having never laundered women's lingerie before, I read the cleaning instructions, put the dirty panties inside an old pillowcase, then threw the case and the rest of the clothes into the washing machine. Girlfriend was so impressed that I took the time to wash her favorite underwear correctly. She immediately ked me when she found out. Edit. Another girlfriend furiously ked me when I assembled an IKEA bookshelf that her previous 2 boyfriends had failed to assemble. It was super easy and took about 20 minutes. She was in absolute awe. I kinda felt bad for her. This is sort of a comedy of errors. I was dancing with a girl at a frat party. She was wearing this club dress with zippers all over it in odd places. I figured the zippers were fake and thought it would be funny to unzip them while we were dancing. So I reached up and zip, and a boob popped out at me. Not only did the zippers work, she was not wearing a bra. In a heartbeat, trying to recover from my mistake, I tried to zip it back up. Some tiny part of my brain realized this was a bad idea, because nipple. So my other hand shoots up to save the day and tries to poke her nipple back in. So I shut the zipper as much as I can, but now 2 fingers are a bit stuck inside her dress, pressing her nipple. Yes, I did not pull them out, just zipped right up to them, and they are stuck. I do want to pull back, because something might rip or get exposed again. Can't unzip because back where I started this mess. At this point I just looked at her face and I must have had the most helpless idiot look. She is pretty angry. I blurt out, I swear, I thought they were fake. The zipper. I meant the zipper, not the tits. The tits are fantastic. Clearly not fake. I mean, I'm sorry. Oh, it just kill me now. She laughed so hard, I thought she was going to pass out. After what felt like 10 minutes she finally reached up and unzipped enough to free my fingers. I just kind of stood there like an idiot and kept trying to apologize. She must like idiots. Later that night I got to unzip the rest of the dress. Knew her for a long time, saw her at a party, and gave her my number for an unrelated and innocent reason. She sent me a text, so I had her number. Obviously knowing who it was I responded, "Who is this?" She replied with her name. I responded with, "Are you hot?" And she sent a picture without a shirt on but with her arm covering her boobs. I proceeded to pretend I was more drunk than I was and asked her to drive my truck home for me. She told her friend to drive her car home and she would see her in the morning. Score. Suggested a game with coworkers over who could drink their wine the most seductively. As we got more drunk we spent more and more time staring into each other's eyes and we ended up in bed together a couple of hours later. When I was a teenager, there was a woman on the same crew as me. We were having drinks after racing, and the pee bladders kicked in. Ended up on the same pee cycle. Joked with her that I might as well just go in with her. She says, "What's stopping you?" Ended up having sex in the bathroom. She lived a half mile from there, so that was just the appetizer. Was at a karaoke bar, and had been talking to this girl for a good half hour or so. She was a theater major, and said that if I could impress her on stage she'd think about going home with me. I'm a pretty stocky guy, so I went up there and sang Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid with as much passion and flair as I could muster. Ended up having a pretty solid night with her. Me and my best girl friend were smoking weed for her the first time. I've smoked before, but it must have been 2 years since I last touched a joint. We were smoking on the balcony. It was a warm summer night and laughed our off, obviously. Eventually, we went inside and just watched TV. All of a sudden, she asked if I ever got a BJ. I replied with yes, and asked if she ever gave one before. Her answer was no, on which she immediately went down my pants and went all on it, without warning. I could not believe what happened, but we ended up king for over 2 hours. My wife used to have hair that was pretty long. She'd grown it out for our wedding, and kept it long for a few years. Well, I'd offer to brush it from time to time when she was stressed out. We'd watch some TV or talk and I'd brush her hair for a bit. It had become a frequent request of hers, but I'd been getting a bit tired of it. One day she asks me to brush her hair and I say, "I dunno. I've been kind of in the mood." I don't really feel like brushing your hair with blue balls. We were being silly about it as we don't usually consider either of these actions transactional, but she told me it was a deal and shook my hand. Our daughter will be 5 in the spring. When I was 19 I was into this French girl I had met, and I really wanted to her. I was with a few guys just drinking, and we started talking about girls. I started saying how I wanted this girl to blow me. I guess one of the guys was into her, maybe an ex-BF, can't remember, because apparently he texted her about it. I got a text from her that night saying something like, "What the? Why are you telling people that I ked your dick?" I responded with, "Well no, I never said that you ked me dick. I said that I wanted you to." We hung out the next day and she ked my dick lol. Silliest seduction method? Was talking to a girl I knew for a while at a college party my senior year, and we were pretty drunk. She mentioned how she was hungry, and I, feeling pretty emboldened by liquid courage, offered her to have some of my ethnic sausage. Yes, I know, kinda crude, but I was expecting it to be a Hail Mary, where either it would either work or at worst, I get slapped. To my surprise, she found it really funny, laughed pretty hard and agreed. And no, she did not try to bite or eat me, as that's a different story, though would have been ironically funny. The silliest thing I did to be silly, but somehow surprisingly worked, in seducing a girl was from a photobomb. Again, young drunk me likes to be in hole and play around when people try to take photos. Usually, most people find it hilarious, some get annoyed. But this one time at a bar, a group of girls were trying to take a selfie, and I snuck in to take a nice photobomb. Some of the girls were annoyed but one of them thought it was hilarious and that I did a great photobomb. She was really cute, and we ended up talking for the rest of the night and hitting it off. As I think about it, so many situations were ridiculously silly or cliche. Me, listen, why won't you come over to my place? I'll make you a toast. Huh, yeah, I actually like toasts. An hour later, in the kitchen, when making toasts. Me, this toaster generates so much heat. I think you don't need this top. Huh, hey, you're right. Another situation, another girl. Huh, I need some help painting a wall in my apartment. A few hours later, me, done. Huh, boy, are you dirty? Take this off. Another girl. Huh, who would show me the city? I'm new here. Me, waving enthusiastically, then walking her around the city. Me, well, we saw a few places, but you still haven't seen my place. A girl I was seeing had a small get together at her house and we were drinking in her hot tub. As the night went on people started leaving so there were only 5 of us left in the jacuzzi. The girl I was dating decided to take body shots off of her friend, like down her lower back, so her face was planted between her ass. She said don't go getting a boner on us, and I said too late. Well, her friend Brie asked if she could see it, and Madison said sure, but no touching. So I pulled it out of my swimsuit and had a pretty massive erection inches from their faces. She liked what she saw and snuck into the bathroom when me and Madison showered and asked if she could join. We ended up having a threesome that night and again the next morning. Decided that going back to work after New Year was a bad idea. Phoned a travel agent, who later went on to marry my father, to sort me out an instant package holiday to a small town in Spain, where coincidentally my girlfriend was staying with her parents. Got on plane later that same day, found hotel actually overlooked her parents' villa. Phoned her up and told her exactly what she was doing that moment. Spent the next 10 days avoiding her parents and sister in a small town whilst spending as much time as possible with her. Playing around with some handcuffs we stole from the local police station. They were on an example duty belt on the wall near the university while waiting for a friend to get released on a public intoxication charge. Long story. Anyway, at some point my drunk accidentally locked a cuff on myself on the walk back from the police station, and not wanting to be alone in the ordeal I accidentally locked the other one on this cute casual acquaintance that was with the police station group that night. Night went on, we get back to the dorms and keep drinking. Everybody starts making fun of us. At some point we actually start talking about how we are going to get these off. I make the suggestion that we should walk over to my off-campus apartment to get my toolkit. Maybe we could get it off with a punch on the hinge. She gives me the squint-eyed grin saying, "Yeah, that's why we are going back to your king apartment." 6 years later, we have a Labrador and Anal on Wednesdays. One of my co-workers, we are good friends, and had hanged out after work a few times, was telling my other co-worker about how she's tired of being a virgin and just wanted to lose it already. I started laughing, because I couldn't believe she was a virgin. She had a steady stream of boyfriends, was insanely hot. She was a model, and competed in pageants. She was a massive flirt. Anyways, she starts swearing up and down that she is, and my other co-worker vouches for her, so I'm like, oh, nice. She then asks me if I want to take her virginity. Obviously I can say no. It was just a one-time thing though. I dated this girl through part of high school who was king nuts, but she let me do all kinds of dirty things to her. Even after we broke up, she would hit me up every once in a while for a booty call. While we were dating, she had a best friend who obviously had a crush on me, but I was not attracted to at all. Fast forward a few years and I get a call from my then ex, and she tells me she owed her best friend a big favor, and was supposed to call me to see if I would be willing to her friend. I was a horny teen, and it had been a while, so I agreed. I went over to the friend's place and my ex was there with her. The friend and I start going at it, and I'm instantly regretting it, because I'm not into her at all. I'm going through the motions when all of a sudden I see a flash. I look over, and my ex is taking pictures. I don't know what that crazy would do with the pictures, so I stop what I'm doing, and go for the camera, and she runs outside. I throw my clothes on and run outside, but she had hidden the camera. A lot of arguing back and forth ends up with her saying she will give me the camera back if I fuck her. We went behind some bushes and I earned the camera. My time to shine. So I went out drinking with a friend, and after midnight of quite uneventful evening we went to see his 3 girlfriends into a bar. The 2 girls were weird and annoying and I was not in a mood for trying to impress them or whatever. The 3rd girl, hot, was silent the whole time, quite tipsy, and was doing a crossword puzzle. Without words I just sat next to her. We shared a look, then she kept going for the crossword puzzle. Every time I knew an answer to something I took the pen and wrote the word into it. After about 15 minutes of this, she took my hand and said, "Let's go home." I said okay. That was the only thing I said to her until then. Took a cab and yes, sex was had. Was a good night. Walked to a girl at a party and said, "Come with me if you wanna live." She played along and acted all scared. The best part, I called her Sarah the whole time, and when she asked me what's my name I said T900. When we split that night I said, "I'll be back." I actually pulled a Shermanator. I'm old. Met a woman on a local Facebook group. After chatting for a bit I discovered she would be a useful business contact, because her husband was the director of a trade guild. I requested a meeting to see if it was worth pursuing. She thought business discovery was a cool way of hooking up. Did it anyways. I went to this dance club with a buddy once. Out of nowhere they cleared the dance floor for some random game. They brought this girl out onto the middle of the dance floor wearing t-shirt with the word egg on it. Then the DJ goes around picking random guys to stand around the edges of the dance floor. I was one of those guys. There was about 10 of us. Then they proceed to hand us huge trash bags and put them on us like a giant shirt, and they had the word sperm on them. So, we had to lay on our backs, and only using our shoulders, we had to scoot to the middle of the floor to the girl/egg. The first person there won tickets to some other show. Anyways, yours truly wins the game, and they tell me to go to the DJ booth to collect my tickets. I walk across the floor, and as soon as I stepped off the dance floor, me and this girl lock eyes. She was laughing at me, as was everyone else, and I offered her a drink. 2 hours later we were banging at her brother's apartment. Crazy night.